Protests against deportation were seen in Oswego last night. What you need to know about the events.
And a halt on deportations across New York State. What judges have to say about recent immigration policy.
Plus, protests from Cornell and Northwestern universities rally against the Trump administration. The school's reaction following cuts to funding.
WTOP-10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Caitlin Wright.
And I'm Cameron Carvalho.
About 20 protesters gathered together on one point of Oswego's 5-point intersection last night in support of immigrant rights. The group held up signs and flags criticizing immigration policies with statements such as, "Hate will not make us great." One protester was Anna Mendez, who works with the rural migrant industry and has a cousin who was detained by the Immigration Customs Enforcement. To a lot of people, it's shocking, but in the country we're living in, now it's not so shocking. Mendez said in a statement regarding the ICE sweeps.
One of the biggest chants the group led said, "Say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here." Some cars passing by beeped and honked in support, while others showed their disapproval with profanities. The protest lasted for about 45 minutes. Oswego City Councilors postponed a request for a $30,000 sponsorship for HarborFest's fireworks. HarborFest Executive Director Dan Harrington sought the donation to pay the tugboat and barge rental for the fireworks show. Harrington asked the city to pay 3/4 of the cost, and the committee voted unanimously to table the request. HarborFest is entering its 36th year and will take place from July 23rd to July 27th.
SUNY Oswego has been giving the Tree Campus Higher Education recognition by the Arbor Day Foundation for the second straight year. The university has continued its efforts to include tree planting and restoration in classes and through community service events. On April 25th and 26th, the campus is set to host a 2-day celebration for Arbor Day. Activities will include planting new trees and Rice Creek Field Station's National Arbor Day Festival.
Cayuga Hall is hosting a chocolate-themed factory Laker night this Friday from 8 to 10 p.m. The Res Life sponsored event will feature games and various chocolate-themed items and activities. In addition, raffle prizes including a Roku TV, JBL speaker, and more are available for a select few lucky winners. All SUNY Oswego students are invited to this event.
We've had some pretty wacky weather recently, including snow yesterday, which is on par for Oswego at this time of the year.
But what does the rest of the week have in store for us? Let's go to Storm Team 10 meteorologist Aurora Fitzgerald with more.
Thanks, guys. So yeah, I looked outside my window this morning and whoo-hoo, big spring blowout. It was snowing, but why exactly is it snowing right now? And where are the April showers bring May flowers? More like snow showers. And, however, we do have a promising weekend. The weather is going to get a little warmer and we're finally going to see some sun again. However, not to be a Debbie Downer, but the rain will unfortunately return going into later next week and possibly into your Easter weekend. And where is spring? I'll have that coming up in my full forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Aurora. An Oswego County Court judge has set a $1 million bail for a New Haven man facing a murder charge. Zachary Chilson is accused of fatally shooting a man in February during an altercation in a grocery store parking lot in Mexico. Chilson's defense attorney originally asked that bail be set at $10,000, while prosecutors said Chilson should remain in jail without bail. Chilson pleaded not guilty to charges during his arraignment Tuesday.
The Syracuse Police Department will soon be using drones to respond to low-priority 911 calls. The department has trained officers to pilot drones to calls across the city in belief that it will make their department more efficient in responding to calls and deciding a course of action. The public will be able to monitor drone flights online with the same software the department is using with the drones. The police department has been answering questions regarding the recording policies with the drones as well.
Cornell and Northwestern universities are the latest schools to get hit with federal funding cuts. The Trump administration has frozen more than $1 billion in funding for Cornell and $790 million for Northwestern. This freeze comes as both schools are being investigated for allegations of anti-Semitism and accusations of racial discrimination stemming from DEI efforts. Cornell officials say they have received more than 75 stop work orders. Cornell and Northwestern have defended themselves against these claims and are fully cooperating with the federal and congressional investigations.
Governor Kathy Hochul has announced 18 grants to aid first responder suicide prevention efforts. The grants are through the New York Office of Mental Health Suicide Prevention Center of New York. 2 of them are going to Eastern Paramedics Incorporated in Syracuse and the Onondaga County Department of Communication. Governor Hochul states that she hopes the grants help to, quote, cultivate resilience and mental wellness among their ranks.
Federal judges in New York and Texas have ordered the federal government to stop deportations of Venezuelan immigrants who are challenging their deportations. The ACLU filed the suit in light of the Supreme Court allowing President Trump to use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport people. The Texas ruling will expire on April 23rd, while the New York plaintiffs are seeking class action certification in their suit. Still ahead tonight, new updates in the Idaho murder case, how these changes are going to affect the upcoming trial.
Plus, a high-ranking naval officer was fired, why she was let go. All that and more right after this.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I had to eat a raw egg on Chris's dormitory floor.
I currently don't have any federal pending charges.
You know what you never did? You never walked to Walmart, Chris. That's my co-host. This is for making me eat roast Pop-Tarts. It's showtime, Chris. Come on.
I want to be on the air for that. I got a couple things to say.
No.
Spin the wheel. But you got censorship.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to...
Welcome back to WTOP-10. I'm your Storm Team 10 meteorologist, Aurora Fitzgerald. Taking a look at tonight's lows temperatures, we have that magic number of 32. Now, we recently had some precipitation, so be careful. There might be a little bit of ice out on those roads. It's pretty cold tonight. We see 27 in Watertown, 28, 29. There's really nowhere getting even close to 40 degrees, but why are we seeing all of this cold weather? There's a lot of low pressure systems coming through. But as you're heading out tomorrow morning, again, we're going to start seeing some developing rain, and with that magical number of 32 degrees, which is the freezing point, when you're heading out, it's probably going to be a little sleety. You might see some ice, so be careful when you're driving, but it should develop into rain, which will continue into Friday. Friday, there's going to be increasing rain. However, the temperatures will increase, so you're not going to see any of that ice. But you should still be cautious and make sure that you have all of the right gear on your vehicles. Taking a look at the chance of precipitation, Thursday, it's obviously going to rain, 86%. Friday and Saturday, we see those numbers going down, which is really, really nice. So leading into next week, and we have a promising weekend, we're going to start seeing some sun. Taking a look at our futurecast Wednesday at 9 p.m., 34 degrees here in Oswego. We're going to see a little bit of a clear up, but then we see these clouds moving in. Now taking a look at our Thursday, by 1 p.m., just around lunchtime, we're going to see those mixed precipitation. We have some snow out in Cleveland, and then we have some rain out in Oswego. And this precipitation is going to persist. It should stay rain because we're above 32 degrees. That's Thursday, 8 p.m. The showers and mixed precipitation will dissipate. You might see some scattered showers throughout the day going into our Friday, and then still some scattered showers going into Friday by 9 p.m., but everything should clear up for the weekend. So Thursday, Friday, still seeing that rain. We're still seeing the temperatures in the 40s. It's going to be pretty chilly, but then this weekend we finally see the sun coming out and we see that 63 degrees. I am so happy. It's going to be a little bit warm. Spring should finally be sprung. Tuesday and Wednesday, some chance of showers, but hopefully the temperatures will continue to increase. That's all from our weather forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Aurora. U.S. Navy Admiral Shoshana Chatfield was fired over the weekend by the Trump administration. Chatfield was the only woman on the NATO's military committee. No reason was given for her firing, but officials believe it was because of comments she made that supported diversity in the force. She got a call from Admiral Christopher Grady, who said the administration wanted to go in a different direction with the job. Chatfield is the third female officer to be fired since Trump took office.
A judge is set to consider what evidence to allow in the Idaho student murder trial. Brian Koberger faces 4 charges of first-degree murder in the death of 4 University of Idaho students in their off-campus home. Attorneys are arguing over the use of such evidence as crime scene photos, videos, DNA, and text exchanges between surviving housemates. Koberger's attorney, Ann Taylor, is requesting the court not to label him as a psychopath and to take the death penalty off the table. The trial is still set to officially begin in August.
It's another wild day on Wall Street as President Donald Trump makes a major announcement about his sweeping tariff plan.
Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at what these market swings mean for everyone.
The market skyrocketed on Wednesday afternoon when President Trump made that announcement about a pause on some tariffs. The big leaps and losses over the last week have been something to watch, even for households without major investments, because of what they can mean for consumer prices and even for jobs.
President Donald Trump's sweeping tariff plan has unleashed turmoil in the stock market.
If you're like me, I am first generation in the stock market. So to see these type of drops, it's heartbreaking and very scary. And we need to acknowledge that and say, it's okay that you're scared.
When investors believe in a company's ability to deliver on the goods and services they've promised and consumer demand for them, that company's stock often becomes more desirable and pushes a company's value higher. Losses across the 30 diverse companies that compose the closely watched Dow, from Apple to McDonald's to Walmart, mean investors are anxious about what broad tariffs and a global trade war mean for the future.
The longer this lasts, the more of an economic drag it is, with uncertainty both by the consumer, investor, and certainly people that run companies. And the longer that lasts, the more real economic damage we're doing.
When a company's stock goes down, they can eventually be challenged to make decisions about infrastructure, like hiring and the number of people they can continue to employ. They may also hike prices to cover costs, which can also squeeze consumers. And for those lamenting retirement losses as the market has turned down, experts say it's important to look forward, not back, and stay on top of that money.
What's really important to you always, whether you're taking a loss or not, is what will do well ahead.
And that 90-day pause that President Trump announced does not include China. In fact, the president raised tariffs on Chinese goods again coming into the United States. For other countries, the negotiations will continue, the White House says. They say more than 75 countries have reached out. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Most countries will be left with 10% tariffs on their exports, but China has retaliated against Trump's moves and will now face tariffs of 125%.
Following President Trump's tariffs, Apple is reconsidering how it does business. The company is making plans to send more iPhones to the United States from India instead of China. This would help Apple to avoid the higher tariffs the president is placing on China. The iPhone is Apple's signature product, making up 50% of its revenue. The company is reliant on China for manufacturing, which has made investors nervous about their future American market standing.
When WTOP-10 Nightly News continues, over 600 people are currently sick following a measles outbreak that's gone national. How Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. reacts.
And the economy has seen ups and downs in recent weeks. How this can affect the spring holidays with Easter quickly approaching. Don't go away.
Say, President Stanley, whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
If you like action, romance,
sister, if you're watching this,
and highbrow humor,
surface is this? Floor. Minch did not legitimately put his head in the toilet.
there's only one place to turn.
No!
Tune in to new episodes of
Oh boy!
only on WTOP.
Nightly News.
In consumer news, 8 people, including 5 children, have died from cholera in South Sudan as they walked for hours in search of medical treatment. It comes after U.S. aid cuts forced local health services there to close. That's according to the UK-based charity Save the Children. The deaths last month are the first to be directly attributed to those by U.S. President Donald Trump. A cholera outbreak was declared in South Sudan last October.
A measles outbreak, which began in rural Gaines County in Texas, has spread to multiple states and is now close to 600 cases. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. says he believes Americans should get vaccinated, but disapproves of the government mandate for it. He posted on social media that the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine is the most effective way to prevent measles. The number of deaths in the outbreak has reaffirmed to experts that there have been far more cases than have been reported.
American Airlines is testing a program that would streamline baggage checks for international travelers connecting to domestic flights. The pilot program, called International Remote Baggage Screening, would allow passengers to bypass baggage screening after they go through customs on a layover. The bags would still be screened, but instead of travelers having to collect their luggage and recheck it, bags would automatically be transferred to connecting flights. It's currently being tried out in flights from Sydney, Australia to Los Angeles. President Donald Trump's tariffs on imports have caused an economic shakeup, but it's not stopping shoppers from spending this Easter holiday.
In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan looks at how much your celebration could cost.
Easter spending is expected to soar this year despite a lot of economic uncertainty.
Consumers are expecting to really go out for Easter this year.
The National Retail Federation estimates consumers will shell out more than $23 billion this year, with people spending around $189 per person on average. That's up $12 from last year. Catherine Cullen from the National Retail Federation says even though some items are more expensive due to inflation, it's not holding people back from shopping.
Through all of these tumultuous times, consumers have been very protective of these holidays.
According to the NRF's recent survey, consumers will spend the most on candy and food. Nothing says Easter like an egg-stravaganza.
Easter is our highest consumption period of the entire year.
Emily Metz with the American Egg Board says Americans are expected to eat or decorate 3 billion eggs this spring season. The good news is egg prices have come down in the last few weeks, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Metz says fewer avian flu cases have helped stabilize prices, but they're still much higher than this time last year.
That has made a significant impact. It's allowing our system to recover.
So how can shoppers save this holiday?
Certainly think about which decorations you can reuse from last year, whether or not you can encourage people to participate in a potluck.
Colin also recommends painting wooden eggs instead of real ones. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
With costs of food and travel increasing, consumers are preparing for unpredictable price points, but hope for the spring is still in the air. The Lakers lacrosse team has been on a winning streak in the past few weeks.
Here is more information on the team is WTOP-10 sports reporter Allie Perry.
Thanks, guys. Men's lacrosse secured the win today in a heart-pounding game against the Oneonta Red Dragons. The game carried into overtime, with the Lakers securing it thanks to a goal scored by Corey O'Connor. Oneonta came out ready to play, jumping quickly into a 6-3 lead midway through the second quarter. Oswego fought back harder after trailing 8-6 at halftime, scoring 7 goals in the second half of the game to secure the send to overtime. The loss drops the Oneonta Red Dragons to a 7-8 overall and 3-4 in the SUNY-AC, officially ending their playoff hopes. Oswego keeps its aspirations alive, with this being their 4th straight win in a row. Be sure to tune in to their game on Saturday. That's all for my sports report, but stick around for Luke Ratty with our full sports coverage after the break.
Welcome back to Major Discussions.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey there, I'm Al Roker, class of 76. Yes, way back in 76. Back when the earth was cooling. You're watching WTOP.
And welcome back to WTOP-10. I'm Luke Ratty here with tonight's sports coverage. Starting off with golf, the SUNY Oswego men's golf team was back in action for the second day of the Mosalem Cup in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania yesterday. Rowan Lynch had the lowest score for the Lakers, shooting an impressive 82 plus 12. On the front nine, he sank 5 pars and earned a birdie on the par 3 13th hole before finishing the back nine with a +7. Up next, the Lakers will return to the course for the Empire 8 Spring Championships this Friday, April 18th. Moving on, Oswego received some exciting news the other day. SUNY Oswego is pleased to announce that the 2025 induction class of the New York Beta Beta chapter of Chi Alpha Sigma. This is the school's second ever class of student athletes joining the National College Athletes Honor Society. With GPAs over 3.50, as well as being able to demonstrate good character on and off the field, a whopping 33 Lakers students were inducted into the Honor Society. Congrats to all 33 Lakers on the incredible achievement. Moving on to the National Football League. Tyreek Hill continues to find new ways to get into trouble. The Miami Dolphins wide receiver and his wife were involved in a domestic dispute at their South Florida high-rise condominium, but no charges were filed, according to a police report. The mother-in-law told police that Hill was aggressive and impulsive. She claimed he threw a laptop on the floor and grabbed his baby before walking toward the balcony. Hill's wife declined to write a statement. Ending with some professional baseball here. Athletes can miss games for just about anything nowadays. Injuries are inevitable, just from the mere act of participating in the game. But Cody Bellinger found a whole new excuse. The newly acquired New York Yankee was ruled out of their Tuesday lineup against the Detroit Lions due to getting some food poisoning from some bad wings he had ate before. Cody Bellinger says he won't ever eat chicken wings for 5 years, which is something I never could do. And moving on to baseball here, we got the Yankees themselves playing against the Tigers in the aforementioned game. It's game 3 of a 3-game set. The Yankees have lost the first 2, hoping to salvage the series and pick up the win here. So we're going to have Flaherty, who pitched a pretty good game in this one, going a full 6 innings and lasting quite a while, pitching a lot of strikeouts up. But of course, it was a pitching battle nonetheless between Flaherty and the Yankees ace, Max Fried, recently acquired from the Atlanta Braves in the offseason. Max Fried was on point this season and had a great start here against the Tigers, throwing a bunch of shutout innings and really just lighting it up for the Yankees here. As you can see, the Tigers just struggling over and over again, couldn't get anything going. It was 0-0 heading into the later stages of this game. But the Yankees needing the third win here, or their third win here. Ben Rice, the leadoff man filling in here. People don't know if it's gone or not, but it is gone. Top of the 7th with 2 outs and a 1-0 count. Ben Rice gets the signal from the umps. It's a home run, a 2-run shot here for Ben Rice, and he pulls away with a huge win there, and the Yankees would pull away to win this one with a final score of 4-3.
Thank you, Luke. Stick around for more after the break.
Hey there, I'm Al Roker, class of 76. Yes, way back in 76. Back when the earth was cooling. You're watching WTOP.
The kind of late show with Chloe and Anna. Like licorice, Twizzlers, absolutely nasty. The thought of turkey is just nauseating. I think you're wrong, is what I think. You think I'm wrong a lot of times. I do think you're wrong a lot.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
That's our report for tonight.
Be sure to stay tuned for Oh Boy.
Thank you for watching.
Have a great night, everyone.